beginning of the week, but he should be back at it by the middle of the end of the week. Yeah, just kind of a couple things. Yeah, I took a pretty good little hit in the first quarter, or excuse me, in the third quarter, and just didn't want to. Just want to make sure he's in good shape. Sure, it does. Yeah. Well, it's hard. I mean, we had an emotional game Saturday against Texas. I mean, you know what I mean, and it's um, just kind of the buildup of that game and a night game in Austin, and just all the kind of emotional stuff. It was a big crowd and a loud crowd, and then we had a long bus ride home and got home really late. So that takes a little bit out of you, and then we kind of got hit last week, kind of a worst case scenario. Got hit by a bunch of sickness and had about a dozen guys, probably, or a little bit more than that, had the flu or RSV or something. Went through our coaching staff pretty well, um, and so anyway, it's kind of got through that, and we were able to get out a win on Saturday. And I think, you know, we all know. I mean, there's a very slight margin for error, with this football team. I mean, we can't go out there and turn the ball over four times, or have 10 penalties or something like that. I mean, we just can't play a game like that, and it's just not who we are. And if we do, we're not going to win. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. And so we've got to play, you know, and execute at a really high level, and got to play really hard. And we did that on Saturday. And you got to give Baylor credit. I mean, they had a ton of energy. They came out, and you could tell from the very first whistle they were ready to play, and they were excited to play. And we had to match that. It took us a while, and we kind of did. And then we got into a nip and tuck ball game against a good football team that's played in a bunch of big games. I mean, I think that's the one thing that Baylor, you go back and you look at their kind of run last year, beating Oklahoma State with the Big 12 championship. You go through something like that, and it does give you a sense of confidence, and you're comfortable in those type of games that we had on Saturday. And we're still, we've been through some of those, but we're still figuring all that out. We're probably not as maybe battle hardened as they were, just again having gone through that last year and having a lot of guys back. So anyway, it's hard every week to play. I mean, you just look at the top five teams in the country last year. Everybody was pretty perilous, or top six or seven, whatever it is. USC was in a battle, Ohio State was in a battle, Michigan was in a battle, we were in a battle. The Georgia Kentucky game was pretty tight. I mean, all the stuff is hard this time of year, and it's like we've said over and over, it's hard to win every game, and that's why there's four teams out of 130 that have done it. It just have to have a lot of things go your way. And no, you're good. That was a well, the receiver. I mean, the receiver's really good. Got over 100 catches. They do a nice job of figuring out ways to get him the ball. He's a good football player, very, very productive. Um, you know, he's a guy in a lot of ways can take over a game, and they're going to figure out creative ways to get him the ball and let him make plays. And then, I think the quarterback's a good player. I really do. I think he's had some bad breaks, some tip balls, and some things that have led to some interceptions. But I think he's a good player, and he competes hard, and he's a good athlete, and very, very accurate throwing the football. And so, you know, when you have a quarterback that can throw it like he can throw it, and you got a receiver that can make all the plays like this guy can, then that's a recipe to be able to score some points for sure. Yeah. Kendra, in a lot of ways, like Max, has kind of been the heart and soul of what we want to do on offense. I mean, he's you know the funny thing about running backs is, there's all these different characteristics that make good running backs. You got to have, speed, and you got to be elusive, and you got to have strength to finish runs, and you got to take care of the football, and you got to do all these things. Kendra's biggest trait, honestly, is his availability. That's been his best ability. He's just been there all year long. He doesn't get banged up. He's when we need him, he's there, and he's available, and he's and that's been the big thing for him. We can count on him, and you know what you're going to get out of him. He's not going to have a lot of negative yardage runs. He's going to figure out a way to worst case make 2 or 3 yards, and best case, the 5 yard gain turns into the 8 or 9 yard gain. And he just does a great job knowing where the sticks are and helping us move the chains. And so he's been a really, really valuable part of it. And I think his toughness has been a great example for some of the younger players in the program, just to see him and the way he takes care of himself and the way that he, plays through little nicks that inevitably running backs are going to have. I mean, that's just part of playing that position, is you're going to get banged up. And that's why we've tried to, from the very beginning, to have running back by committee in some ways, just to lighten the load for him, so that when we got to this point of the season, not only is he available, but he's also pretty fresh and pretty healthy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a ton of credit. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, just look at our team and the way we've been able to stay healthy. And it's funny. Look, injuries happen in football. I mean, that's something that's going to happen from time to time. But you know, there's a way that you can manage it, and it's like anything else. There's the law of diminishing returns, and you have to sit here and you got to say, okay, what do we have to do to give ourselves the best chance to win? And we're not very smart here. I'm not very smart, but the one thing that we try to talk about all the time is, what's our strength? What do we have? Okay, what do we? Every school's got a certain strength in recruiting. Every school's got a certain strength in their program, and every team has strengths and weaknesses. And okay, what's our strengths? Well, we kind of got out of spring ball and we said, all right, we're fast. So how can we stay fast? You don't want to take a fast team, practice them for 3.5 hours every day, beat the heck out of them, and make them slow. And so our thing has been, let's try to keep them fast. So we've tried to limit practice, and we've tried to do things from a recovery standpoint to keep us fast. And kind of the same thing. I mean, you want to be physical, and you have to. The only way to be physical is to be physical in practice. And so you've got to try to manage. Okay, what's enough? What's enough hitting? What's enough? Mixing it up, and what's too much? And so I think the big thing that our players have done, though, is they've started to understand that when they leave the practice field, their job, they still have a job to do. And their job is to go and to recover, to make good decisions on what they do when it comes to eating and nutrition, to supplementation, to hydration, to sleep, to rest, to recovery methods that we've given them, from cold tubs. I mean, if you walk down right now in our athletic training room, there's going to be 50 guys in cold tubs, trying to recover. And so it's just, a lot of things that these guys are doing that they believe helps keep them healthy and helps keep them around. And I think that, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, look at our team, and we've been able to somehow, we've had some injuries. Don't get me wrong, everybody does, but you know, we've been able to stay pretty healthy. And again, I think it's a credit to our players, because it doesn't matter what we tell them; it only matters what they do. And so I think the buy-in is there. Certainly, Kaz, has they have confidence in him, and they understand that we're not going to ask him to do something that isn't going to move the needle. You know what I mean? And so that's the thing that they believe in from us is, look, if we say this is important, this is going to help you, then they know it's going to move the needle, and so they'll do it. And again, that's part of having a good football team and going on a run like we're on right now. Is just that those guys have got to do it. They got to grow up, and they got to understand how important that is to our football team, and they got to take pride in doing all the little things again when you walk off the practice field to get yourself ready to go to practice the next day. Yeah. I mean, look, I saw North Dallas 40, and so I mean, we used to walk in and get a beer in the locker room and have a beer after practice, and so that's the deal. So it's different now than it used to be. Um, Not only at every level. I mean, you just look at kids in high school now. I mean, I'm amazed at how how these high school kids, how hard they work, and I mean they train year round. And so we get them, and they already have these like remarkable training habits, and in some cases they overtrain. And that's the biggest thing, is you got to almost teach them how to take some time to recover and to rest. And that's what I'm talking to all these recruits about is they get knocked out of the playoffs. They're all saying, hey, well, we want to work out. We want to do this. We want to do that. My thing is always like, you need to take some time. You know what I mean? You need to go spend some time with your parents and your friends and get rested up and enjoy it. And you'll have plenty of time for that stuff. And I just think that's the way people are wired these days. And that's what's so funny. I mean, all the time people talk about kids and this and that. And I know this generation, when it comes to football, works so much harder than my generation ever even thought about doing. I mean, these guys know how to work. And um, I mean, I didn't. I had no idea. I had no idea, how hard you had to work to be a good player. And these guys, most of them understand that. And the coaches have done a great job, and they all have these trainers, and these guys know what they're doing. And I mean, these kids come to college, you know, with an understanding of all these things. And like I said, and almost the big thing that you have to do teach them now is how to recover and when to recover.
Knowing that, you guys playing, I'm assuming you're playing for 13 games.
Yeah, yeah,
You got the potential for 14 or 15.
yeah.
You modify your plans now?
Yeah. I mean, that's something. Yeah, we kind of got. What we do typically is as we come out of fall camp. Normally we're a 22 to 24 period practice team. Okay. Well, again, when we sat down and evaluated this team, our thing was let's cut that to 18. And so normally you scale back as the season goes on. Well, we scaled back at the beginning of the season, and so we started at 18 periods, which is usually what we get to mid-season. We started with that in really in fall camp. Um, and so just because again the desire to keep the guys fresh and we felt like we had some depth issues and we wanted to get the best 11 guys and 22 guys to the game every Saturday. So we kind of started paired back. Next year's team, if we go out and we have the kind of recruiting class and transfer additions that I think we can have, then maybe we can extend that because we're going to have more bodies and so anyway, there's you change it. And so we started with less at the beginning, and then we started talking about, okay, can we cut back even more? And the answer was probably no. So, okay, what can we do? Well, then for us, it was, all right, let's try to give these guys 30 more minutes of sleep. So, 2 weeks ago, we started giving them a little more sleep. Then, we gave them a couple of Sundays off, the last 3 Sundays. And so it's, we're always tinkering and adjusting and trying to figure out the best way to get our guys to the game fresh. And then this week, they don't have class. So we backed everything back an hour. And so now they're getting an hour and a half more sleep per day than they were getting, early in the year. And so, again, we think that's going to add up and be significant and allow us to be more rested. And certainly we felt like the last 2 weeks it did. Our guys seemed a little bit more refreshed. And today with that extra hour, I think made a big difference. And I think that's probably part of the reason why we had such a good practice. Yeah, no, I definitely do. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question that Max deserves that. And I think, for a couple of reasons. I think, you know, I don't pretend to, I'm not a Heisman Trophy expert. I'm not a voter. I don't, I usually let people that vote on things vote. That's their job. My job is to coach our football team. And so my focus is going to be on that. But I just think if you look at the entirety of, what's happened to us this season, it's hard not to go, well, there's got to be a reason this happened. A reason why a team that's picked seventh in the league, is in the position that we're in. And so, I do think that you have to say, okay, look, it's almost like an act of God that this has happened. And then you got to say, okay, well, what's why? And you go, well, here's this guy that's, played incredibly well at an incredibly important position. And, um, and then and if you've watched this play, you can't help but notice, what he means to our team. Just the confidence, the uh, belief that he has, in this team and the players and our scheme and what we're trying to do. And then just the number of plays that he makes during the game. And a lot of them are Max's best plays, in my opinion, aren't even in the statistics. You know what I mean? They're things that will never show up in the stat line. It's decisions that he makes. It's, leadership that he provides. It's crucial plays in critical situations that people never notice. It's all these little things that he does for us. But at the end of the day, it's just probably most importantly, it's just our guys' undying belief in him and our guys trying to play their tails off for him because they have so much respect and admiration for what he brings to our football program every day. And so, when you sit down and you go, okay, who's moved the needle the most for some program that's in this conversation? I mean, I think it's got to be Max Duggan. I just believe that. And I don't know what the requirements for the award are. I mean, I've heard it described a bunch of different ways, but you know, I just think it's, to me, it's, who's meant the most to that particular football team, and then who's raised that team to greatness. And when you consider that, I mean, I think he's certainly got to be part of the conversation. And I think it'll be a tragedy if he's not, because again, if you follow TCU football, I think everybody in this room knows what he's meant to our program. Yeah, 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 yeah. Garrett's done a really good job. I mean, bright guy, really good teacher. I think that's one of the things that I really respect about Garrett is, you know, he he's a young guy and he's had success as a coordinator. Going back to SMU, the 2 years that he was there, and now going into the third year here at TCU, or the first year here at TCU, making his third year. Um, and so what happens sometimes when you're young and you have success, you kind of go, "Well, I got this figured out." And I think Garrett's best um, trait is, he's always wanting to improve. I mean, he knows that he doesn't have it figured out. He knows that that it's a collaborative effort. That's one of the best things about that room. If you walked into the offensive staff room, they're going to be meeting in about 30 minutes and watching practice, and everybody in that room is going to have a voice, from our graduate assistants to the quality control guys to the receiver coaches to the offensive line. Everybody's going to have a voice in that room, and I think that is, again, hard for a 33-year-old guy to do. I was in that position when I was Garrett's age, um, as a coordinator, or just a couple years older than him, and had some guys in the room that were 55 years old, and they're sitting looking at me like, you know, I was playing football before you were born. And then it was true. And so it's just, he just handles all that really well, and I think that he handles our players the same way. I think that he just does a really good job. I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing from a scheme standpoint, but when you talk about coordinators, so much of what makes them successful or not successful is their management style and their ability to be in charge, but to empower other people. And I think that's to me the great leaders are the ones that empower people and make people better and raise the level of excellence in a room, where everybody wants to do better. And I think both of our guys, I think both he and Joe do that. I just think that that's the kind of people they are. Um, they're very humble. The cool thing that we have in our program is there's no egos. You know what I mean? I mean, if it's funny, you watch our players and the way they interact with each other, and you have no idea who the best players are and who the worst players are. Everybody's, you know, everybody kind of just exists within this team, and there's a mutual level of respect that is just kind of goes all throughout this program, and that makes it fun. Because I've been in teams where there was the good players bossed the other guys around, and they're just, you kind of left the field every day and you're kind of like, ugh, and in this group, just you walk off every day and you go, man, these guys are fun to be around. I really got a lot of respect for them and love the way they care about each other and treat each other. And again, I think that starts with the coaches and certainly with the older players, and the young guys kind of come in and pick up on it. And before long, you wake up and that's just kind of who you are. Yep. Yep. Yeah. 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 I mean, I think that, and again, I mean, it's easy it's easy to sit around and the easy thing for people to do is to always just expect the name brands to be good. You know what I mean? It's like it's easy to dismiss Tesla when they first start. It's harder to dismiss them now. You know what I mean? And so I think that's kind of what you have to do is you got to work yourself into a position where you do it long enough and you're consistent enough doing it where people start to go, okay, there may be something real about this. And like I've said many times before, I mean, we don't want to be given anything. We want to earn it. And so, it may be more difficult for us that path, but we're okay with that. Um, because that's just kind of the way that we're built, and we don't mind that. Um, and if you pay attention to football, which again I don't, and I'm not trying to take a shot at anybody, but I think sometimes people say things just to create conversation or clicks or likes or dialogue or however you want to talk about it, and that's fine. But I think if you really dive deep into college football and you pay attention to the statistics and the numbers don't lie. I think everybody wants to get upset when some of the talking heads at ESPN talk bad about TCU. Well, I mean, they're the ones that do the S&P stuff that have the Big 12, the highest, second highest rated conference. And so I think a lot of those guys know that, but I think that at the same time they don't necessarily get paid um, you know, for providing information as much as they do for providing opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. And so that doesn't ever bother me. Yep. Yep.
Last summer or summer before that in Texas, you the big brands.
Uh huh. Yep.
The SEC, everybody kind of like, what's going to happen here because they're going to be from the Big 12 championship.
Right.
And neither one of those teams are in.
Yep.
What does that say about this?
Yeah, it says exactly what this league is. It says that it is really good from top to bottom, and there's a ton of parity, and it's really, really difficult with the schedule that you have to go through in this league to go through unscathed or to go through consistently and to be able to win it back to back. I mean, it's just a very, very good league from top to bottom. And again, it's like, four different teams more than likely are going to represent the conference in the championship game the last 2 years. Try to find that in another league. You know what I mean? I mean, that just doesn't happen anywhere else. And so, and I think that sometimes people dismiss it as, well, the league stinks. Well, if the league stunk, it seems like it would be the same team that was there every year. I do remember a time in the Big 12 where Oklahoma was in the championship game almost every year, and the league probably at that time from top to bottom wasn't as strong as it is now. And so, there's ways to look at things, and it all depends on your perspective and how you want to see it and what your narrative wants to be. You can always look at it and say, well, it means because the league's really good and there's lots of good teams, or you can say, well, it's because nobody's good. And so just how you choose to look at it, I think, is the deal. Okay, thank y'all.
It's fun to play the who's going to game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Tulane beats Kansas.
Shoot, I mean, I feel like it's honestly been here the past 3 years too. Ever since he's, took kind of the reins of the offense. I think everybody, the whole unit's had that belief in him. I just think this year I think there's more belief from inside the whole team, not just one side of the football.
He wasn't even a starter in game one.
Right. It honestly doesn't surprise me one bit. Like I've told y'all before, I'd do anything for that guy. He's got the heart of a warrior, and he's just a leader. He's a winner. He doesn't care who's playing, who makes the winning play. Of course, everybody wants to make the winning play, but at the end of the day, he just wants to win, and I think it really shows. And I think they did a good job of showing that on Saturday. Yeah, I'm going. I think. Well, see, I'm lucky, so I live. My folks and my grandparents only live but 15, 20 minutes away from here, so we're going over to my Nana's and Billy's. So I already told Coach Dykes, I was like, whatever we do, please don't wear all white Saturday because I'm going to look like the Michelin Man after I get done eating over there. Man, I think we just got to do our job kind of like every week. We know, Iowa State's, they're a really good team, very physical team. I think they've been that way, since I've been here the past 5-6 years. So, but yeah, I think we got to do our job, but it's the same mentality every week. Our next game is our biggest game, and it just so happens to be Iowa State. But yeah, we're gonna have to be on our A game to beat these guys. They're definitely not gonna come in here and just roll over for us. Honestly, like I don't think we've really let any of that stuff get inside of the locker room. To be honest with you, I don't think we've gotten much, if any, praise the past 3-4 years, and I feel like that's helped. We're not used to hearing this stuff, and I don't think it's really getting to us. I don't think. I haven't heard of anybody really. To be honest with you, like there's not a whole lot of talk about this and that. Like you said, it's the next week, and I think we've done a really good job at this point. I feel like if we keep doing it, we're going to end up being happy. Where we end up. It's cool. So like you got to think that dude was a really really good football player. Played at the SEC level. I think he had like 44 consecutive starts, something like that, at center from Missouri. So it helps from a guy like that. He's got experience. He's an old lineman. I don't care if you're still playing the game or not. You're always going to be an offensive lineman. You can just tell. He's a gritty guy. I think all of us have the same personality and that kind of just will to go dominate and hit somebody in the mouth. And he preaches it every week. He preaches it on Monday. He teaches Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the same thing. And he's got a standard, and he makes sure that we excel and hold ourselves up to that standard. And that's a big part of why we're playing the way we are. But yeah, dude, that guy's awesome. He'll make you want to run through a brick wall, and he'll get us to do it too. No, he's kind of the same way. He just preaches, man, just do your job. Nobody in the room has to do anything, out of the ordinary or play above their potential. I think he really does a good job of, just preaching to us, if we get all five of us guys to just do our job at, the right, everybody do their job, on the play at once, it shows, and we can be a really good group when we all do that. And he does a good job of expressing that to us. Yeah, sure is. Oh man, it means a lot. It's gonna be weird. I remember the past 2 years I've actually told Matty Lou I was doing it, and each year I've gotten hurt. So I'm sure it'll be a little emotional. But yeah, I love this place, dude. I'd do anything for it. For it, these coaches, these players. But I came back for a reason. So that'll tell you how much I appreciate and love this place. Oh man, uh, the crazy thing is, I don't think there was one lick of doubt on that sideline, on our sideline, and I honestly mean that. We score, we go for two, we don't get it. There may have been for a second a couple guys hanging their head, and then just like that, it's there's still 2.5 minutes left. We got a really good defense, we got a really good offense that don't need a whole lot of time to score. And there wasn't a doubt in my mind the defense wasn't about to get a 3-and-out. We were gonna get the ball back. I honestly thought we were gonna run the punt back. That's how much faith I got in those guys back there. But like I said, there wasn't. I don't think there was a whole lot of stress. It was like, hey, nut up or shut up. Let's go do our job. Buckle up. Let's roll. And that's exactly what we did. Man, I knew from honestly the very first day I don't even think we gotten back in school yet, and we get a text from Coach Cos saying 5:30 a.m. workouts, be here early, 5 o'clock, and we're like, oh my gosh, no way. But I tell you what, dude, it brought everybody together, and it kind of made everybody realize, like we've always had the dudes to do it. I mean, when it's just the mindset. They instill this mindset. I feel like we can go line up against the Dallas Cowboys and play against them. Now, I don't know if the score would end up showing that, but shoot, at least we think that way, right? And I mean, it's huge. But like I said, I mean, we got the same guys. It's just they've installed this mindset into us, and I mean, look at where it's taken us. Yeah. 100%. And I mean, whether we score, we give up a sack, you throw a pick, whatever it is, we have a next play mindset. No matter what happens. So you got to take it one play at a time. We ain't scoring if you don't get the first. If you don't get the first down, then But like I said, you got to take it one play at a time. And I think we got kind of an older, experienced group, and we realize that. And the best part is we got faith in all 10 guys playing beside you, all 11 guys out there. You can look to your left or right. Everybody, there's not one guy on the field at any time that I look out there and like, crap. It doesn't matter who's on the field. We all know that when you get your chance, whoever's in is going to go make the most of it. And I think we've showed that all year long. uh, I don't know, man. I feel like honestly, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you nobody looks at the scoreboard, but I don't think there's really that much of a difference, dude. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't think it would matter if we're up by 60 or down by 60. We're still going to be out there swinging and giving it hell. So, that's a pretty good question. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever really a sense of everybody getting all tight and freaking out. Like I said earlier, man, it's the whole take one play at a time, next play, next man up mentality. And, it's rolling for us right now. I think we've done a good job of it so far. Yeah, dude, they've been difference makers the past. When they got here 2 years ago, were they both true juniors? Um, they're ridiculous. Those are the guys that you want. I mean, it's the same with Max. You look back there, you got Max Kendre. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Then you look outside, you got a guy like Quentin Johnson. I think he was built in a laboratory. That dude's not human. Um, but like I said, man, it's just confidence. Everybody trusts each other. At the end of the day, everybody's got confidence in each other, and I think it shows. But yeah, it's definitely a good feeling when you got guys like that on your side of the ball. So oh, they were close. As a team, in general, everybody's close. But I think our O line group is the closest it's been since my freshman year when I remember I got here. You had Matt Pryor, Austin Schloman, Pat Morris, guys like that. Some older Note Boom, for instance. And they were all so close, man. And I feel like we've been close in the past, but really outside of football, there wasn't a whole lot of hanging out. And I remember whenever Coach Ricker first got here, making a deal on that. He's like, guys, y'all, if y'all want to be the team you want to be, y'all got to be close. And he's like, just hanging out up here ain't gonna cut it. So, dude, we're with each other every chance we get. We go eat a few times during the week. We hang out on the weekends with each other. We watch the football games. So we're all close, man. I love John. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, there's no hard feelings. Same. I'm sure he'll sit here and tell you the same thing about me. Whenever they score, I'm the first dude to run the field and go slap him in the back of the head. Whenever we score, he's the same guy who runs up the midfield. There's no hard feelings, and that's the difference between this team now and I think the past few years, dude. That's how a team breaks down. That you don't want any of that selfish stuff, anyways. So yeah, dude, I love the guy to get. He's a great player. He's been playing good, and I'd do anything for him and any of those guys in our room, let alone this whole team. So yeah. He's got some good music. We actually listen to a lot of the same music. Half the time I go in there, it's a bunch of older country music, so I'm always in a good mood. But yeah, sometimes you'll go in there and he's banging like Slipknot or something, and it's like, oh, here we go. But dude, like I said earlier, man, that guy's an offensive lineman. I don't care however long he's been done playing for. If you want a lineman, you're always a lineman, and dude, he's a great guy. But yeah, he's got some good music. I bet you get fired up too every now and then if you sat in there with us and listen to some of those songs. Yeah, I don't know because shoot, I feel like we hear a couple blues songs every day we're in there. So
You said you're going to your grandmother's with some of the
I think the question is what's not going to be on the menu over there. All I know is I can't wear a white T-shirt or else I'm gonna have to throw it away after. So,
Thanks, Wes.
all right, appreciate ya.
Lou Harris from Armed Forces Club here. Air Force versus Murray State. Let's do it. How's everyone doing?
Well, I think just going in and doing our job, doing it to the best of our ability and just coming out with the win. They were just pretty much, doing a lot of counters, but reversing it and turning around and coming back the opposite way. So usually when we see that look, we kind of just, go fast and shoot our gaps. But, we had to stay patient, and that's what our second half adjustment was.
What was that halftime like? Coach was he seeing the board drawing it up or talking through it? How's it going?
Yeah, he pretty much just drew up all the plays that he felt like we needed to correct and just went from there. Yeah, everybody believes in Max for sure. He's a confident player, and he has a lot of maturity to him, and he's been here for 4 years. So, I think everyone on the team is there to support him, and he's been doing great for us.
The starter who all of a sudden is not the starter. Somebody gets started and packing the ball. What does that say?
It just shows his character. He's gonna show up to work whether he has a job or not, and when you have a teammate like that, it makes the whole team special. So. He improved in a lot of ways. I think he just, was attention to detail was the biggest thing, and he's been doing that ever since. Mhm. Yeah, it's very different from my style of play. I kind of like to stay deep and kind of use my speed to get around the big guys. But if I have to, stuff my nose in a D gap, I'm willing to do that as well. Yeah, it was the first day that they showed up here when Sonny Dykes landed in the stadium, and he came in here and he told us, this is going to be y'all's team, and Coach Kaz kind of gave us a little speech about, we need a culture shift, and they've been doing just that, coming in here, just switching everything up, and everyone fell in love with it. Yeah, I play linebacker, so I just pretty much focus on the running back and quarterback and O line. So all the guys, I'm sure Trey and Josh Noon will handle that situation. Yeah, it was just discipline. We had a lot of immaturity on the team, and kind of individuals here and there, and they just kind of just brought us all together and made us a whole team, and that's what we needed. We kind of just let the outside noise, talk and not let that kind of, get us out of our circle. And we know we have to accomplish. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Knowing that you guys are only 7 now, but
Yeah, it means a lot, to be the first team Coach Sonny Dykes, coached and to start a new legacy here. It means a lot to, start off 11-0 and move forward. Hmm. Yeah, they're a big tight end team. They like to throw in a couple 13, heavy personnels, and use their tight ends a bunch. So we're gonna need, to shut down their tight ends and definitely their run game as well. Hmm. Yeah, Shad Banks, he comes in, he works hard. He's getting better each and every week. He came in during Texas and kind of played the role pretty well. And I think Coach Gillespie was surprised. And, it's me too as well. So, he's a great player, great teammate, and I'm proud of him. Oh, we do. Oh, I just kind of like prepped him up pretty much when he knew he was going in the game. I told him kind of, you're gonna play good. Just kind of give him some confidence, and he did just that. So did pretty good. Uh, Honestly, we watch like these like TCU predictions versus whoever we're about to play that week. So we kind of just hear all the noise that they talk about, and it kind of motivates us to play. Yeah. Um, I mean, we watched a bunch. I think it was Oklahoma. I think that was we were supposed to get blown out or something like that. And I think me and Shaq kind of got hyped up for that game, and yeah, it was going. Kind of proved them wrong. So I cannot flip. Shaq got that one. Yeah, he's more athletic than me, but oh yeah, no problem. Y'all have a good one.
We have defensive end Terrell Cooper.
Beginning of the year, it was not that much confidence because like it was a new defense, new team, new head defense coordinator. So it's kind of took a little minute to get confidence and like put our game into our defense. He a little f though. Yeah, he be telling us just dominate them, don't play with them, just go out there and do what we do. Three and out, just get these three stops, three timeouts, and then have a chance to win the game. Yes, sir. Good job. That's about it. Not too much. I seen a lot. He could use a little bit more pass rush moves, but besides that, I seen a lot of growth between him.
Are you fully comfortable in this defense now? I mean, move out fast.
Yeah, at first I wasn't that much confident, but now, yeah, I'm getting used to it, getting the hang of it. A little bit. We kind of like coach each other up on like different techniques and stuff like that. Um, I could say they're pretty good running the ball. Their line pretty physical. That's about it. Uh, I try not to like think about that. Just keep it one day at a time. Practice, 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 and then let the game just let it do itself. It would mean a lot because you can always just come back here and then take a look at that. Just like have like a memory of that, like. something I always think of. Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't that much time, but yeah, it paid off a little bit. uh, Probably not. I got some people, family up here in Dallas. I'll probably go over there. Probably the turkey and the dressing.
Next up, Drew Harris. Any on sports question? Next up.